Have you ever started a job in the US and just felt like you missed the memo on how things really work? Yeah, you're not alone. The whole problem with unwritten rules is, well, they're unwritten. So today we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify the American workplace so you can navigate your career with total confidence.
This is the big question, isn't it? It's the one that can cause so much stress when you're new. You're trying to crush it at your job, but you're also trying to figure out all these subtle social cues that, honestly, can determine your success just as much as your actual skills.
And look, that feeling is completely normal. It's a huge, exciting adventure. But let's be real, it's also a challenge. Getting a handle on these cultural nuances is absolutely key to building strong relationships and actually moving up in your career. So let's start drawing that map together, shall we?
Okay, here's how we're going to tackle this. Think of it like we're building a pyramid. We have to start with a strong foundation and build our way up. So we'll kick things off with the why, the cultural values that shape everything else. Then we'll get into first impressions, the ins and outs of daily communication. And finally, we'll talk about the strategies for long-term career success.
All right, first up, the cultural foundation. Because here's the thing, to really master the unwritten rules, you have to understand where they come from. And it turns out pretty much all of American office etiquette is built on just a few core cultural values.
The first, and arguably the most important, is individualism. American culture, at its core, really celebrates personal initiative and individual achievement. Being independent and self-reliant, those are highly, highly prized traits, and you see this play out every single day in the workplace.
So what does this mean for you, practically speaking? It means you're expected to be a self-starter. You can't just wait to be told what to do. Your managers are looking for you to bring your own ideas, to solve problems on your own, and to take on new tasks without being asked. Seriously, being proactive is everything. It shows you're engaged, and it is highly, highly valued.
Next up is this idea of a low-context culture. What that really means is that in the US, the whole point of communication is to exchange information and opinions as clearly and efficiently as possible. There's way less emphasis on reading between the lines. The meaning is in the actual words you use.
In practice, this just means that being direct is seen as professional, not rude. When you're sharing your thoughts or giving feedback, just be clear and get to the point. A yes means yes, a no means no. It's not meant to be harsh. It's all about clarity and respecting everyone's time.
And our final foundational value is egalitarianism. This one's a big deal. It's this core belief that everyone is on a level playing field, and your opportunities should be based on your skills and merit, not your age or title. This has a huge impact on how workplace hierarchies work, or kind of don't work.
You can see this big idea in a really simple, everyday habit. Using first names. In most US offices, calling your boss John or Susan is totally normal, and it's a direct result of this egalitarian ideal. A good rule of thumb, though, start with a formal title, like Mr. or Miss, until they tell you, oh, just call me John.
Okay, so with that cultural foundation set, let's move up to the next layer of our pyramid. Let's talk about those first interactions that really build trust right from day one, first impressions. I know some of this might seem obvious, but these are critical signals that tell everyone you're a professional.
It really just boils down to these three simple but super powerful actions. Nailing these isn't just about being polite, it's about signaling your respect and professionalism from the second you walk through the door. So let's break them down, starting with punctuality. First, being on time. Now here's a key cultural tip. In the US, being on time actually means being a little early. If a meeting is at 9, you should be there at 8:55. It's not just about being prepared. It's a silent way of showing you respect everyone else's time. It proves you're reliable before you've even said a word.
Next up, how you dress. Okay, dress codes can be so confusing because they change from office to office. Business professional is the most traditional. We're talking a full suit. Business casual, which is probably the most common, is more about looking put together but still comfortable. When in doubt, it is always better to be a little overdressed. But honestly, the best tip is to just ask your supervisor. It's not weird, it's smart.
And finally, the greeting. The standard in almost any US business setting is a handshake. You're aiming for a grip that's firm, but not, bone-crushing. You want to pair that with good eye contact and a real smile. It seems like such a small thing, but that one moment can communicate so much confidence and openness. It just sets a great tone.
Okay, so you've made a fantastic first impression. Now we're moving up the pyramid to the stuff you do all day, every day. Mastering the art of workplace talk is really about understanding the context of every conversation you have.
The real key here is knowing when to switch gears. You've got the casual, water cooler small talk, which is so important for building relationships. But then, when it's time for an email or a formal meeting, the expectation flips right back to that low-context principle we talked about. Be clear, be concise, and be professional.
A little bit of small talk really goes a long way in building connections and just making the office a more positive place. So, what do you actually talk about? Stick to safe, neutral topics like these. Asking about someone's weekend plans or their hobbies. It shows you're interested in them as a person, not just a coworker.
But of course, not every conversation is going to be easy. This quote really nails it. Conflict is going to happen, but it so often comes from a simple misunderstanding, not because someone has bad intentions.
So, when those misunderstandings pop up, how you handle it is everything. This is where that direct, straightforward communication style is your best friend. You have to approach it calmly and focus on the business problem, not on the person. If you can propose solutions and work together, it shows incredible maturity and a real commitment to the team.
And that brings us to the very top of our pyramid, playing the long game. These are the advanced skills, the ones that take you from just being a great employee to being seen as a future leader.
Okay, I'm going to let you in on a super powerful framework, especially for when you're talking to senior leaders. It's called the Pyramid Principle. Look, senior leaders are incredibly busy. They don't have time for a long, winding story. So start with your conclusion, the answer first. Then you can group your supporting arguments and back them up with evidence. This shows them you think clearly and, most importantly, that you respect their time.
And finally, networking. In the US, networking is not about just asking people for favors. It's about building genuine, professional relationships. The absolute key is to offer value first. Be a great listener, show real interest in what other people are doing, and find some common ground. That's how you build authentic connections that actually help everyone involved.
And so, that's where we'll leave it. Adapting to a new work culture is a marathon, not a sprint. Trust and understanding are built with small, consistent actions over time. So, I have a question for you. Thinking about everything we've covered, what is one small thing, one rule you can consciously practice this week to start building your confidence and your connections?